いつも君と待ち続けた季節は何も言わず通り過ぎた雨はこの街に降り注ぐ少しのリグレットと罪を包み込んで泣かないことを誓ったまま時は過ぎ痛む心に気がつかずに僕は一人になった記憶の中でずっと二人は生きてゆける君の声が今も胸に響くよそれは愛がさまよう限り君は少し泣いたあの時見えなかった
The pretty flowers. Alright, are we at the end? Is this the end? So, you'll notice that I am starting at a different spot than before. I was trying out some stuff, seeing if I could take on certain enemies. I was wrong. Like, very wrong. I did beat a couple of things, but I mean nothing that would really.
Looks like we made it here in one piece.
That's all I can afford. That's all I can afford. Any of these worth anything? No. Son of a gun. Do I have like any mats? Alright, cool. Let's get to it. Oh, I'm gonna have to fight my way back through. I'm so sorry. Can I avoid? Oh yeah. The answer to that riddle is yes. They really like the strings for their music in this game. Oh god. Nope! No! I don't want to! Yes! Ha ha ha! Suck on that, nerds! I'm out of here. My running back going through the offensive line there. Should find a crease. Skew! Okay. Skirt. Here we go. So we're gonna have a save. Fucking Kisara, why are you injured? No! What do I have? Grape, pineapple, orange. Okay, so... fine. Kisara, what are you doing, girl? Like I said, we're going to have a save down here in the 4 slot. Because here we go. Time to get going.
You might very well learn the truth behind Shion's thorns, as well as my own past.
Is this it? Can we do this in 2 hours?
To face anything. Whatever happens,
Only time will tell.
I'm determined to save Shion and Dana. Nothing I learn can change that.
Word. Let's get it. So I need to remember to not save in the 4th slot. The 4th slot is taken.
Hold up, you guys.
What is it?
This is very familiar.
I want to look through that room over there. I'm curious what we'll find.
This looks
That's
like a
the room
memory.
you visited in your past, right? Sure. We can check it out. This looks like some kind of research facility.
A laboratory secreted away in the Forbidden Zone. Why am I past being surprised at this point?
Looks pretty deserted.
Looks very deserted.
Let's check it out. It might give us a new lead.
I don't want to.
It scares me.
For the people of Lenegis, the Forbidden Zone is the stuff of dreams. Yet here I am, standing within its hallowed halls.
It's off limits even for lords, then? Talk about an exclusive club.
Being exclusive is one thing, but how many important facilities let in only the Sovereign? Doesn't that seem a little strange?
Strange doesn't cover it. If it was only one room, maybe. But a place on this scale? How did they keep it from falling into ruin? Whoever the Sovereign is, they can't manage the upkeep of this whole place themselves.
Did no one ever talk about it when you were growing up?
No, not that I can remember. Then again, sovereigns in Forbidden Zones weren't exactly breakfast table conversations.
The Forbidden Zone is a hallowed place, at one with the Sovereign's authority, grounds of the one true ruler who presides over all Renans. That is what we believed this place to be. No, what we were made to believe it was.
There you go.
But now, it is finally time to discover this area's true purpose, and why it was kept hidden behind the scenes for so long.
There's like nothing for me to investigate except for where it tells me to go, so...
I think I can make this work.
A lot of people with the initial J in their name.
Well, can you make head or tail of it?
These are experiment records, by the looks of it. Reams of them, dating back hundreds of years. Let's see. A composite being capable of controlling Danan astral energy, so as to convert its molecular and elemental makeup. The creation of a governing central figure, taking the form of a Danan. Codename Sovereign.
Sovereign.
Wait, there's more. Research into utilizing force field crystals for the purpose of stable astral energy containment. That must be the master cores. With all this raw data, there's bound to be records here somewhere about the Maiden and the Lords, too.
About the lords? Why would they be on there?
Think about it. The Lord's crests are clearly of a piece with those of both the Sovereign and the Maiden. Not to mention the fact that the contenders to the crown are selected from otherwise regular Renin citizens.
Oh.
In other words, it may be that all Renins are unwittingly being made subject to some kind of grand scheme.
What about the Sovereign? Does it say anything else?
Where do I start? All I've read so far is the headlines. There's so much here. To sift through all of it would require specialized... Wait.
What is it? Did you find something?
He hit Control
A
F.
list of names, with the title, Test Subjects, Sovereign. It's your call.
Read it.
There must be dozens of test subjects listed here. Hundreds even. All of them failures. Wait. I think I've found one that was successful.
Why did they fail?
Test subject number 1273. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Alphen.
They re-engineered me. Right here in this lab.
Alphen.
What did they re-engineer you into, though?
Really. What about the others? Was I the only one?
Nope. Volron.
Test subject number 10105. Ethnicity, NA. Unique adjustment index, generation, NA. Given name, Volron.
Volron? But that means...
He's only sovereign because someone made him that way too.
He's the last one. In 3 centuries worth of records, you and Volron are the only 2 subjects on whom the experiment was a success.
But who's conducting it? Is it the Red Woman?
But what about the winners of the crown contests? Does this mean that none of them were ever crowned sovereign after all?
Different sovereigns.
Upon victory, the Sovereign shall return to Rena and rule over Rena and Lenegis combined.
Different sovereigns.
When a new Sovereign is decided, the outgoing monarch shall relinquish their post and live out the rest of their days on Rena. So we were told. But according to these records, there have only ever been 2 sovereigns, neither of whom had anything to do with the crown contest. It's all lies, including the part about the Sovereign residing in Rena. The crown contest was never about deciding a new ruler. It must always have been devised for some other purpose.
But
Even
what?
supposing that's true, someone must have been in charge for the past 3 centuries, right? If it wasn't the Sovereign, then who was it?
Crown contests have been held this whole time, in spite of the fact that there was already a Sovereign. Me. Meaning that for the past 300 years, someone out there has to have been maintaining that lie. The same person I'm willing to bet is behind all this.
The Red Woman?
It's possible. But that doesn't necessarily mean she's the mastermind behind this scheme. She could be working for someone else. Someone back on the Renin homeworld.
I doubt
Either
anybody
way,
lives on the Renin
It's
homeworld.
fair to say she's definitely involved somehow.
Like, I'm thinking the Renin homeworld was overtaken with dark astral
What about
energy.
the data records? Is there no other information that could help us?
Not that I can see. Just file upon file of experiment results. There's nothing here about who's behind all this, or what their endgame is, unfortunately. I've barely managed to scratch the surface, mind you. You won't be able to read through it all, but you're welcome to take a look through what you can, while we're here.
I'll do that.
What?
So this is where Alphen became the Sovereign, and Volron as well. The significance of this location would suggest...
Hey, it looks like the terminals in here turned on too.
We should look through them. They might contain valuable information.
I want information
Only
about the
2
Renin homeworld.
sovereigns in over 300 years.
That's what I want.
So why has the experiment only succeeded twice in all this time? And if that's the case, why keep on doing it? Was there really no other way? Or could there be some other reason?
Dohalim.
Forgive me.
Alphen.
I'm fine. I'm just a little shaken, that's all. I knew what I was already, so it's not like it's a surprise or anything. But it's strange. I've got all this rage inside of me, but I don't even know who it's for. I'm scared that I'll put a face to it, just to have someone to blame.
If that were to happen, then No. Then we'd help you fight it, before you ever got that far. Wouldn't we, everyone?
Yeah. We wouldn't just sit by and watch you spiral out of control.
That's right. No good can come from being consumed by hatred.
Says the
If
two
you ever
who
start
were.
to lose your way, you can count on us to guide you back. To remind you where home is.
And I would be happy to lend an attentive ear, should you ever have need.
Thank you, everyone. I think I'll be okay now.
I want information on the Renin homeworld. I'm basing this opinion I have only on my experience with other Tales games and JRPGs. It's just like the Renin homeworld has probably been consumed by dark astral energy. Alright, Lenegus. A large-scale astral energy converter that primarily converts the elemental composition of Dana's astral energy and transmits it to Rena. Activation and control of astral energy conversion is achieved by placing the Sovereign, Maiden, and Renis Alma within the central core of Lenegus. It is comprised of classified and essential personnel residence zones around a large conduit, along with a defensive layer surrounding them. This outer layer is deployed upon activation, unlocking the central conduit while simultaneously functioning as a stabilizing mechanism. Due to its design, deployment of the outer layer is expected to cause damage to residential zones. However, because that only takes place during the final stage of the spirit channeling ceremony, no contingency plan to address said damage is needed. Until that phase, Lenegus serves as the central base of operations for the management and execution of the crown contest on Dana. Warning, any personnel with level 3 authority or lower is strictly forbidden from the classified zone. Any violators will be immediately executed. Whoa. A massive spirit vessel placed on Dana for the spirit channeling ceremony. It serves as the tip of Lenegus's conduit, from which it separates. Upon landing in Danan waters, it extends 2 sets of conducting pathways. The vertical pathways connect to the center of Dana. Meanwhile, the horizontal pathways proceed to envelop the entire surface of Dana. Once activated, it links to the biological spirit vessels placed in each realm, efficiently harvesting the planet's astral energy en masse. The accumulated energy is then transmitted to Rena via Lenegus. Because construction and adjustment take place in the Forbidden Zone's regulator area, Lenegus's outer layer must be deployed prior to launch. Intended to function semi-autonomously, only maintenance personnel are expected to manually interface with it when necessary. No other personnel is required for it to function. Addendum 1. Detachable Harvester 1 was lost on Dana after exploding due to the rampancy exhibited by the Sovereign. Addendum 2. Detachable Harvester 2's landing point will remain the same as that of the previous model. This is due to the explosion of the previous model, which altered the planetary topography, enabling easier connection to the center of Dana. A device covering the wearer's whole face that restricts their mental activity. It was developed for the purpose of pacifying prisoners. Medical applications are also recognized, particularly as a means of preventing patients from sustaining mental trauma. However, doing so is not recommended, as prolonged use of the device carries the risk of inducing a number of adverse side effects. Addendum. Due to the loss of production facilities incurred from the partial destruction of Lenegus, additional devices will no longer be manufactured. After receiving reports of a robust new form of rule emerging in Dana's water realm, a study was commissioned to investigate the matter in depth. This system is unique in that it elevates only the Lord as the supreme authority while relegating both Renans and Danans alike to enslavement. Test subject number 10105 serves as the realm's current lord and has achieved this without the use of any special powers, drugs, or special devices. Rather, it has done so by sheer governance. Given this method's effectiveness at population control, monitoring of the situation will continue. Addendum 1. Collapse of cognitive facilities via extreme mental repression rooted in violence and fear has proven to be key to this style of rule. Once a subject loses its autonomy, they become desensitized to fear and subsequently cease to prioritize even their own personal safety. Though such a state is ill-suited for commanding officers, it remains an effective way to cultivate disposable infantry and slaves for manual labor. Addendum 2. Soldiers in Lenegus who have undergone this treatment will be asked to secure classified sectors as a trial. The results will be monitored. Okay. Each crown contest, 5 of the best qualified members of the Renan populace are chosen to act as lords, vying to serve as the next sovereign. During their tenure, they are granted level 3 authority, as well as one of 5 elemental realms to administer, and its corresponding Master Core. They are also assigned an ID crest indicating their designated element. The selection process is based only on an astral artistry and physical and mental aptitude. Other variables, such as age, have no bearing whatsoever. Because only the strongest go on to become lords, the position itself does not inherently make an individual any stronger. It should be noted, however, that lords are not the only individuals capable of drawing out a Master Core's powers. All Renans must take part in this selection process, and acceptance of the position is mandatory. It is not allowed for those deemed suitable to decline. Furthermore, in the event that an acting lord is incapacitated and can no longer serve in their position, a replacement must be quickly prepared. The following is a report on the second successful case of Sovereign Test Subject experimentation. Test Subject 10105, given name Volron, Generation NA, Unique Adjustment Index, Ethnicity NA. Although subject possesses high latent potential, it exhibits significant mental instability, along with a strong distaste for following orders. As such, the risks it poses surpass even those of the last successful subject, itself a failure, and is therefore under consideration for disposal. Addendum. This is the first successful case in 300 years. Previously mentioned risk factors are now mitigated due to established control protocols. Subject is to be evaluated under the assumption that Plan 2 will proceed and will be dispatched to Dana under the guise of serving as a lord. So that explains Volron. And they consider Alphen a failure. Master Cores are instruments of power containing astral energy that belongs to one of the 6 elements. 5 of these Master Cores, those with earth, water, fire, wind, and light, are loaned to Renan Lords at the time of the Crown Contest. Only the Dark Master Core is maintained inside the Forbidden Zone until the Renis Alma is ready to be reformed, its existence kept top secret. Underneath the Master Core's spherical outer layer is a force field crystal used for the purpose of astral energy containment and stabilization. Inside the force field, astral energy is stored in a dormant state. For the duration of their tenure, each lord competes in the Crown Contest to amass their allotted type of astral energy. In the event of an emergency, each lord may be allowed to withdraw from their respective stock of astral energy as necessary. However, the extent allowed is determined based on their own individual strength. Addendum 1. Design flaws have been discovered in how the Renis Alma materializes. Be advised that active Master Cores may resonate with other Master Cores located in close proximity and become unstable. Addendum 2. Due to successful regeneration of the Arenis Alma, Master Cores will cease to be deployed, and the Crown Contest will be permanently halted. Spirit Cores are end terminals used for the collection of astral energy. When embedded in a biological subject, it establishes connections throughout its body. These connections are used to amass astral energy generated from physical activity, which is then emitted from the host body itself. Because this emitted energy is prone to diffuse, the host must be placed within range of a spirit vessel for the energy to be collected. This means that Danans must be employed to harvest the astral energy for the purpose of the Crown Contest. Given the difficulty in producing them, it is advised that Spirit Cores be retrieved from host bodies and reused upon their death. Spirit Cores can also be embedded in Zeugles to control them via astral arts. Addendum. Increased physical load on a host body tends to produce increased astral energy emissions. Final confirmation of ideal workload to impose on host bodies without inducing death for maximum astral energy yields is still pending. The Sovereign acts as Lenegis' central control device for the spirit channeling ceremony. Each one is granted level 2 authority and an ID crest. A Danon subject serves as the base of its creation. In theory, ideal candidates possess equal affinity for every astral element. However, such aptitude is statistically rare to uncover within real-world conditions. As a result, most subjects die during the adjustment period, and stability is still not guaranteed for those who survive it. This instability, coupled with the Sovereign's powers of astral manipulation, pose a high risk to the security of Lenegis if left unchecked. As such, stabilization measures must be put in place via the support mechanism when utilizing the Sovereign in the spirit channeling ceremony. Addendum 1. No effective alternate methods to perform the ceremony have been found. Trials on Danon subjects are authorized to continue. Addendum 2. Unit 2 adjustments are a success. Subsequent adjustments are to be put on hold while extended observation takes place. The Maiden acts as a Sovereign support mechanism for the spirit channeling ceremony. Each one is granted level 2 authority and an ID crest. A Renan subject serves its functions, providing the Sovereign with a supplemental dark astral it lacks in tandem with the Renus Alma. During the ceremony, it is partly responsible for astral energy conversion, as well as maintaining stability over the Sovereign's own powers. Additionally, the degree of intimacy between it and the Sovereign has been observed to positively impact the level of stability in both subjects. Because of this, trial activations of the Sovereign without the Maiden present are expressly forbidden. Furthermore, neither the Sovereign nor the Maiden are to be informed about the details of the spirit channeling plan. Addendum 1. Mental instability in the Maiden has been deemed the cause of the past Sovereign's rampancy. Countermeasures must be considered. Addendum 2. In line with plan adjustments, the current subject will have its Maiden registration revoked and be returned to its original household. That still doesn't tell me anything about Lenegis. Or not, Rena. Let's go over here. You see lots of numbers, looks like logs of alignment between subjects and Lenegis proper. Yay, more grape jail. I like that.
Thanks for the freebie.
It's equipment for monitoring subjects. Probably had a failure disposal mechanism as well. Oof.
That's harsh.
Yay! A room unchanged over 3 centuries. It's like time itself has stopped here. Alright, that was a lot of exposition. How am I doing on life bottles, by the way? Only 6. Yikes. Ah, here we go again.
Naori,
Don't talk. I have to do this. I gave you my word that I'd help you return to Dana. The next time you open your eyes, you'll be home.
But you...
My place is here with my people. I still have a duty to fulfill. I'm sorry for what you've endured. Rena never should have dragged you into this. It's not your burden to bear.
But is it
The mask
yours?
contains a sedative. It should keep your mind from tearing itself apart any further. Let yourself go to sleep. This should help with the pain. Time to go, Elfin. Farewell. His injuries are worse than I thought. Short-term treatment isn't going to cut it. I'll have to switch the healing pod to long-term hibernation mode. The chance of surviving hibernation's less than 10%?
And worse, long-term use of the mask carries a high risk of damaging his mind and nervous system. But... If I don't head back, Lenegus will be nothing but ashes. And this starship along with it. I don't know if I can fulfill my promise to you, Alphen. But if doing this will grant you even the slightest chance, I have to try. I hope it's enough. Please, live for me, Alphen.
That vision. It must have been from when Naori helped Alphen escape Lenegus.
She sure went above and beyond the call of duty.
Even with Lenegus crumbling down around her, she chose to stay put with her people.
So that's why you lost your memories and sense of pain, and why you were asleep for that whole time. It was all the result of one agonizing decision Naori made to save your life.
Yeah. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't even be alive today. I owe her everything. More than I could ever hope to repay.
Now that you know how she felt, how do you plan on honoring her wishes?
She kept her promise. If the Renan people she fought so desperately to protect are at risk from a malevolent force, then I owe it to her to carry on her fight. Naori was the one who put that mask on me. It made me Iron Mask.
She did it to prevent your soul from tearing itself apart. She knew you might lose your memories and sense of pain as a result. But more than anything, she wanted you to survive. And you did.
You're still not answering questions! Okay. I'm gonna get in this big fight with Volron, and there still won't be any answers. Yay, I like that. That also makes me incredibly nervous. Aw, nothing in here? Lame. That looks familiar. The wedge.
This place. We've seen this in one of Naori's memories.
Of course.
Channeling ceremony.
After 300 years, this is where it was held. The spirit channeling ceremony. This is where the Renaissance was.
So this is the place where you and Naori...
The Renaissance isn't here now. Nor is the Red Woman, it seems.
I know it's difficult, Alphen, but there will be time to dwell on the past later. For now, we need to keep moving. Come on.
Naori.
What is this? Is it the work of Dana's will again?
It's been a year since the ceremony. That day, I shut away inside of myself the power that caused Alphen to lose control. Since then, my visions of the future have grown more and more fearsome.
Is this another memory? No, it's different this time. It's like she's speaking directly to us.
It's like a journal.
What we did back then. Not so much as a day passes when I don't think about it. About what was done to us. All in the name of a ceremony. The purpose of which we were never even told. As Sovereign, they linked Alphen's consciousness to Lenegis itself. The Renis Alma was intended to control his power, lest anything should slip through its cracks. That day, as Maiden, my role was to temper his power. I was meant to guide it forth, and give shape to the strength inside of him.
Linked to Lenegis itself? But then, everything that's been happening...
But that power showed me a vision. A vision of oblivion. When I realized that vision was a prophecy of the apocalypse we were about to unleash, I couldn't go through with it. But without a maiden, the ceremony was doomed. Alphen lashed out, his consciousness no longer his own. I did what I could. Using my abilities as the maiden, I tried to seal that power away inside of me. But it was too late. Lenegis had already been brought to its knees. Thousands upon thousands of lives so cruelly snuffed out. All because of me. Because of what I had done. With the destructive force now slumbering inside of me, I knew I had to find a way to dispose of it. Anything to make up for my failure. But I didn't know how. Especially since that power was astral energy itself. In which case, ironically enough, the Renis Alma seemed to be my best bet. That, at least, would hold the astral energy dormant. Assuming that no malevolent third party got to it first. With the Sovereign and Maiden's combined power, perhaps I could shift the chaotic energy inside me into the Renis Alma instead. That's what I hoped, but alas, it was not to be. The Renis Alma was lost, and Alphen, the Sovereign, was in a starship bound for Dana. My only choice was to seal away the destructive force inside of me using my powers as the Maiden, to buy the world what little time I could. The time needed for a new Renis Alma to be crafted, and for a new Sovereign to appear. Even if by doing so, it meant I would be passing the curse onto my descendants as well. Please, forgive me. I never meant to burden the future world with this threat too. I only wish that there was something more I could have done.
Wait, you can't just...
Interesting.
Naori. That message just now, was it directly from Naori? Or was it the Danon voice speaking through her?
What?
These are the clothes that Naori and I wore during the ceremony 3 centuries ago.
So you're saying this is the Maiden's outfit?
That's right. These clothes are designed to resonate with the Sovereign and Maiden's abilities. they focus and enhance them.
And they appeared now because...
Naori must have left them here for the new Sovereign and Maiden, knowing the day would come when they would need them in their fight against the Thorns.
These outfits are directly linked to the answers we've been chasing this whole time. If they're here, it must mean it was Naori's will for us to find those answers as well.
Locating the Renis Alma would allow us to neutralize the dark astral energy inside Shion, thereby silencing her thorns. Is that what Naori's suggesting?
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. After all, Master Cores and Spirit Vessels are both able to prevent the astral energy inside them from developing sentience. By that logic, it would stand to reason that the Renis Alma would have the same ability on a larger scale.
We have a Maiden and Sovereign. Now all we need is the Renis Alma, and we'll finally be able to free you of your thorns. Shion.
It's possible? You really think so?
I do. We can rid you of your thorns and stop the world from falling to oblivion.
However, the spirit channeling ceremony already failed once. Even if our goal is different this time, we can't be sure the same thing won't happen again. We should take care not to be too optimistic.
You're right. It's the barest sliver of a chance. But if there's even the slightest hope it can work, I'm willing to stake everything I've got on it.
I know it's too early to let myself feel relieved, but I just can't seem to help it. Just hearing there's the slightest chance, even though I know the world's still in great peril. It's selfish of me, I know, but still.
No, it isn't. You found hope to believe in. It'd be strange if you weren't over the moon about it.
Rinwell's right. We can rid you of your curse and still save the world at the same time.
Thank you.
I'm so glad I put those glasses on.
Naori entrusted us with the fate of all humanity. Now, it's up to us to prove that trust was well placed.
Starting with a little game called Hunt the Renis Alma.
Yeah, we've come all this way. Now we just need to search Lenegis and Rena until
What she
we
said.
find it.
Yeah, we can protect the world and save Shion at the same time.
I too shall lend my services. My knowledge of Renin lore is bound to be a useful asset.
And they say modesty is dead.
You were only off by 2 letters.
Miracles just seem to follow wherever you go, huh?
How do you know it's me they're following? We're all in this together, Shion. You included. Now let's get moving, shall we? Last I heard, we had an apocalypse to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Naori. So Naori sealed away the power that made me lose control of myself. She stopped my rampage and saved my life. But then, that power she'd sealed away was passed down to you. I'm so sorry, Shion. It's my fault that you're cursed.
You're wrong. What happened to you was because of the ceremony, and Naori's attempt to stop Oblivion. You paid a heavy price for it, and then fell asleep for 300 years. The reason you lost your memories
is the reason for your curse.
The thorns.
It all leads back to them. But once they're gone, we can finally put an end to all this.
When my thorns are gone, I never dared to dream that such a thing could be possible. No, the truth is, I think maybe I've always been dreaming about a life without my thorns. The touch of my family, or playing with my friends, holding hands with Rinwell, or giving Law a deserved smack, embracing everyone. All the normal things that people do together. I always wished I could experience them for myself, and finally know what they were like. Is it really okay for me to believe it can happen? I'm so scared of getting my hopes up. What if it doesn't work out in the end, and...
That's not going to happen. I'm here to make sure it won't. Forget fate or destiny or anything else. We're going to live a normal life. There are a lot of things you still want to do, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's such a strange feeling. I know that we've still got plenty of fighting up ahead. And it's for my sake. So I can live.
You're worth fighting for.
I believe you, Alphen.
Good. I'll keep on fighting. For as long as it takes. Until our future is finally in our hands.
Latest maiden. The latest member in a 300-year-long line of maidens, Shion intends to use her powers to confront the destruction looming over Dana. Sodale Arthalis. A sword given to the chosen sovereign that draws out all of their latent power so as to carry out the spirit channeling ceremony. Ceremonial garb given to the chosen sovereign, granting them the endurance to withstand the immense power of the spirit channeling ceremony. Les Fiarchis. Ceremonial garb given to the chosen maiden, capable of interfering with astral energy. It's worn to contain the sovereign's power. Neat. Oh, look at her elemental attack. Jeepers Christmas.
Sounds like this Naori chick had quite the big heart.
Her position demanded nothing less. From the sound of things, she didn't focus on differences, least of all those between Renans and Danans.
Yeah. It was Naori who first showed me that such a thing was even possible. And then she saved my life by sending me back home to Dana.
Not only that, but she willingly stayed behind on Lenegis for the sake of her people. It sounds like she was quite the hero, all right. A truly caring person.
It's as if walls meant nothing to her. The ones separating the Renans from the Danans, or herself from others. She had no need for them.
Which basically meant that she never had anything to break down in the first place, huh? Yeah. I think you may be right about that.
You inherited that legacy. Her wish for the world.
Don't I know it?
She's kind of like a lodestar guiding our way, showing us what we can aspire to.
The pedestal where the Renis Alma sat 300 years ago. Now it gives off no trace of power. Alright, I'm saving again. That was a lot of exposition. Here we go.
That's quite some door, all right. This might finally be it. The heart of the beast.
We'll find the Renis Alma and the Red Woman inside, right?
How do we know that?
After everything we've been through
We haven't
to get
seen
here,
her.
They damn well better be.
We'll probably be needing you to
I haven't seen Volron either.
Go for it, Alphen.
This isn't gonna go well. Not at all. Yikes.
This is it, guys. Time to see what secrets are in store.
But remember, secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone.
We're a long way from the residential quarters now. It looks completely different.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, this place... it reminds me more of being back inside the wedge.
Except the Danon astral energy feels even stronger here.
In a portion of the city reserved purely for the Renin Sovereign.
Maybe he just has strange tastes?
This place looks like it has been here for quite some time now. If its design were a matter of personal preference, we would be talking from centuries ago. Or perhaps even further back. Still, this isn't the sort of decadence of taste spoken of in artistic circles. So what is it then?
A layer.
Decadence? Artistic circles?
When a preference is indulged to its extreme, it descends into kitsch, eccentricity for the sake of it. I'd be happy to illuminate you further.
That depends. Does it involve you buying me lunch?
The void that art fills isn't the stomach, it's the soul.
In that case, I'll let you know the next time my soul starts to rumble.
Now all we need is something to fill up the void inside your head.
Shut up!
Here we go.
Volron! He really was still alive.
And there's the Renis Alma. Then, is this another spirit channeling ceremony?
I doubt it.
Wait though. Something doesn't seem right here.
He's chanting.
The powers must be united. Born from the fires of chaos, the world does seek its rightful state. All must be sacrificed in the heart of Arena, at the shrine of the true sovereign.
What has happened to him? He's lost himself, reduced to a mere cog in the machine.
Hey look! Over there!
Isn't that the Maiden's crest?
Can it be that this entire chamber is meant to act as a substitute for the Maiden?
It looks like it's still running, but... are we already too late to stop the ceremony?
Maybe.
If that's what caused Lenegis' transformation, then the purpose of the ceremony must have been to drain all the astral energy out of Dana.
But for what purpose? What could possibly need astral energy on that sort of scale?
I don't know. But whatever it is, I'll bet it's connected to those visions of oblivion. Regardless, we cannot stand by and let them steal Dana's energy. That said, we should retrieve the Renis Alma. Because right now, we need that most of all.
He's not gonna lunge at us out of nowhere, right?
Not the time, Law.
Alvin, look!
The Red Woman! So we finally found you. I have a lot of questions for you.
Wait!
What?
They all have the same face? How is that even possible?
I don't like that.
What is this?
Who the hell are they?
It can't be. Are they even people?
It's hard to know for sure, but I think they're the true rulers of Rena.
They're not feeling particularly talkative.
It's no use, Alvin. If we don't fight, we may as well be sitting ducks here.
Good point. Let's stop them before this gets out of hand.
Now you see what I can do!
Well, they share a health pool.
Not today!
just wanted to run around in circles.
Flare the Malika!
I never miss. Close one. Here. A whirling circle. Winds of heaven. First force.
Now you see what I can do.
You're mine. I'm all stuffed
Take
up.
this.
You may be strong, but I'll never back down. Azure Storm! No further.
Glacial Fire! Tiger Blade! Inferno Crossing! Look sharp! Leave the charges to me! Far enough!
Try harder. My turn.
How about this? Flaming Meteor! Inferno Crossing! Look sharp!
None shall escape my
Radiant
judgment.
Tiger Blade!
Armor won't save you.
The flame inside me.
Your offsprings are up reach!
Can't get out of this.
Look sharp! Now to pieces! Inferno Crossing! Eat dirt! That'll bring you down!
This is looking good. Coming through.
Uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
Scarlet Inferno.
I let my guard down.
Stay away from my friends.
I don't want to use that right now, but I'm going to. Ow.
Now you see what I can do.
The flame inside me yearns to be let free.
Take this.
Burn in hell.
Can't get out of this.
Far enough!
I'm not done. Escape. You're mine. You're mine. Azure Storm. How about this? Take this. Azure Storm. I'm not done.
Take this. I'll smash you.
Take this. The flame inside me yearns to be.
Ah!
I never miss.
Inferno Crossing! This one is mine!
Prepare to be sealed.
Crystal!
Can't get out of this.
Healing circle. Holy land. Searing flame. Reload. Need to pull myself together.
Woo!
Now you've gone and ticked me off! I let my guard down.
You'll pay for that. Azure Storm.
Raging cascade. Healing circle.
I owe you one.
Grant me the strength to
I owe you one.
Glacial field.
Another incantation ruined.
Here I come. Azure Storm. It's on. Not today. Azure Storm.
Benediction light.
It's over.
Train harder.
Azure Storm.
Freezing slug!
You're mine. Water Blade.
I never miss.
Ruin's Gate.
Hear my call. Illuminate the dark.
Take this.
Come forward.
Azure Storm.
Power of flame. May it pass without
Yearns to be let free.
Raging Lunar Storm. Anything in armor is all mine.
Ah, no!
On your
I'll
knees.
bring you back with the Hear me, flame of fury. In here. Glacial field. I'll be here the evil one. Wind blazer. Wind axe.
Armor won't save you. Down on the ground.
Searing flame.
Elusive deity.
It's over.
Searing flame.
Shine.
Reload.
Radiant light.
Wind.
Further
Seal
regeneration.
by the power of flame. This is the sky. Hear me.
Ah!
Sorry to trouble you.
You do the same for me.
Astral energy!
Say no more.
None shall escape my judgment.
I've had harder fights.
Surrender! Fighting is useless now!
Do you think it's really over?
No.
Astral energy. Watch out! They've got something up their sleeve.
Yeah, self-destruct.
What?
It's self-destructed?
Alvin!
I'm okay. Just a little roughed up.
You had me worried there.
Who said you could touch that?
Here we go again.
Damn it! He's awake!
I should have thought as much. So you know this place? Naturally. It was built for me, after all. We'll save that for another time. More pressing is how I'm going to tear you apart. Even after all this time, you still insist on hating me? You cut me down. Sovereign or not, you will pay for that.
You're obviously bluffing. You can't even move right now.
Really, is that what you think? Did you really think that such a petty device could hold me?
Are you going to claim it's because you're a ruler? Be it sovereigns or lords. In the end, they're all titles given by someone else.
Plus, what kind of ruler would spend all his time chasing Alvin, who happens to be another sovereign?
Idle prattle. I proved my worth and the Sovereign's powers were granted to me.
Were they really? We already know the title of Sovereign doesn't denote royalty. It is but an overblown codename for those with a designated part to play in these proceedings. You mentioned before that you were not the only one stolen from Dana, correct?
Yeah. There were countless. And every one of them besides me died.
All of those failed experiments, and they still kept going back to Dana. There must have been some vital reason their subject had to specifically be a Danan. Then there were the records we found in the library, for you and Volron. They were logged 300 years apart, and yet the data they took from you was exactly the same. Which leads us to a single conclusion.
Then you mean Boran was kidnapped just like Alvin? But then he became a...
A slave from Dana. Just like us. Isn't that right, Volron?
So he posed as a Renin and caused all that suffering to his own people?
How could you? If you knew the pain of being a slave, why would you inflict that upon others?
Renin and Danan are meaningless distinctions. Me and everyone else. That is all that matters.
A sociopath.
Stand above all others and take what is rightfully mine, starting with this.
a red woman.
Another one?
Give your master back on Rena this message. No one makes a fool of me. Let them know I'll make them suffer.
Don't do it!
Serenus Alma!
Lovely.
Too late. You can't stay here.
We need to go. Alvin!
She's got hops.
Go. But know I will be your shadow no matter where you try to run.
Let's go.
Never forget, I am the one who devours everything, who answers to neither spirit nor man. My word is law. I am.
Are you two okay?
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Is Volron... Have we finally seen the last of him?
We can but hope.
Those red women. What the heck was their deal?
Could they be the ones behind all this? The same ones who put those soldiers in Faria in a trance?
What? Those brainless things? Either way, they've done a runner with the Renaissance. Damn it, that's the second time now!
Whatever's stolen from us, we'll steal it back. The future's ours to protect. And right now, those things are what's standing in our way. We can head them off at Rena.
Did you say Rena?
Volron mentioned a master of theirs holed up in the motherland somewhere.
If that monstrous form's their true identity, I shudder to think who they take orders from.
Yeah. There's a good chance it's not human. That's for sure.
So this thing over on Rena, that's what's really behind all this, huh?
It's the
They have
Reapers
the
from Mass
Renaissance
Effect.
in their grasp already.
They've come!
It's unlikely they'll have cause to return to Dana. I agree that Rena's our best shot.
Then we're agreed. Let's head back to the starship.
But seriously, I was not expecting Volron to actually be here.
He seemed to care not one whit about Brennan's or Danan's.
Yeah, not in a good way like with us.
I didn't see that coming about Volron. As for those red women, to think they were monsters all along.
Tell me about it. One minute they look perfectly human. Next thing you know, they're not actually human at all.
They definitely weren't Renan or Danan. I'm not even sure language would get through to them.
So what were they then? Human Zoogle hybrids?
Is the most terrifying thing anyone said all day.
How about you, Shion? Dohalie? You ever seen anything like that before?
No, never. However, if they're the same as the red woman we've seen with Volron, I think it's safe for us to assume they understand our language at the very least.
I had just so much I wanted to ask them. About Rena and Shion's thorns.
Unfortunately, they blew themselves up before we got the chance. Why would they do such a thing, though? To take us with them? Or in order to keep something hidden?
Both sound plausible to my ears. They took off with the Renaissance too, remember?
Yeah, they did. And the next time we meet them, we're going to make sure they tell us everything they know.
Ugh. You're gonna make me walk the whole way after I just fought. I'm just checking. Using my peepers. Keeping my peepers peopled. Okay, no items. That wall came out of nowhere. So that wasn't the end of the game, like I was hoping. So either I go long tonight and hopefully hit the end, or it'll take one more day. Loverly. Fuck it.
Look sharp! Lightning Tiger Blade! Take this! No escape!
Whoops! I meant to interrupt the...
Everyone hanging in there?
Yeah, Mom, thanks for checking in. Appreciate it. You're a good mom. Skyo!
Go no further!
You're mine! You picked the wrong fight! Take this! As your sword!
These ones can run rings around us.
You picked the wrong fight!
Can't get out of this!
I owe you one.
I can carve through armor!
Do it! Go in here! Astral energy!
Say no more! Now! You're mine! Slap! As your sword!
Leave the ensnaring to me. Yeah! And the pummeling to me!
How did he avoid everything?
In a vine?
This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Like, what?
Any injuries?
I was really hoping that'd be the end of the game right in there. I love this game to death, but man, I'm ready to play something else.
I'll do my best. Here, let's go. Shield and bring you down. Pieces. Attack time.
Mega ray! Concentration!
No further!
Glacial spear! Here's the eagle!
It's over!
Falling storm!
Soaring light spear!
Tiger blade!
Anything in order!
Illuminate the storm!
Swallow blade! Coming through! Ha! Now! Scarlet Inferno! You're mine! Swallow blade! You picked the wrong fight! Swallow blade!
Throbbed in pain.
Lightning strike! Divine
Take
streak!
this!
Explosion! Lunar arc! Burning strike! Glacial spear! Here's the eagle! Freeze laser! Your order! Will this help? Seal!
Azure Storm!
Vanquish darkness!
Strike! Azure
Ribbon
Storm!
meteor! I'm ready! Divine streak! I can do this all day!
You picked the wrong fight!
Woo!
Take this!
Denied!
Take this! I'll smash you! Now or never! No further!
In here! Lunar arc! There! Status get!
I was dodging, thank you.
Azure Storm! You picked the wrong fight!
I'll take you all on.
Oh, this should lead us to finishing this thing off.
Flare the Malisa.
A chain between heaven and earth. Healing arc.
Piercing rock.
misfortune must truly be watching over me.
Right, here goes!
Switch
You're
sides.
mine!
By the power
Take
of
it!
flame!
Desert Storm!
This one's ready and rare. I can carve through armor.
Hurricane!
Azure
This one's mine!
Plasma Shock!
Tiger Blade!
Swirl Blade!
Think with sharpness!
I'm not done!
Flaming meteor!
The flame inside me yearns to be let free! You're mine! Swirl Blade!
Make it rain! Go for it!
All right.
A whirling
Now!
by the power of flame! Winds of heaven!
I'm not done!
No further.
Flag
Azure Storm!
Flaming meteor! It's there!
Azure Storm!
Make it rain! This ends now!
Consider yourself finished!
Yeah. Finished.
Don't get complacent.
Okay, good. I am headed the right direction.
What the? When did it get pitch dark all of a sudden?
The lights are all out. Think it has something to do with the explosion back in the Forbidden Zone?
Mm-hmm.
Joe?
Ray? Me?
You two.
Fossil Latido?
Avakir. Thank goodness you're safe.
Avakir filled me in about everything. About how I ambushed you all.
She doesn't remember a thing, so she really was being controlled.
He told me about Tarnigan, too. Is it true?
Yes.
What difference does it make? What's done is done.
Stop casting me off, just for once!
Faria, not now. It can wait. Dohalim, Lenegus is in grave peril.
So I can see.
It's the city's core reactor. It's damaged. Some of the basic systems we've managed to keep online, but complete restoration's still a way off.
You're an elite technician, though. You can fix it, right?
If so, then what's the problem?
Panic's begun to set in among the citizens. Until now, whenever something like this happened, the Sovereign would issue a decree. But this time, not so much as a peep. Any longer, and we run the risk of riots breaking out before we can get things back up and running.
So much for a higher people.
Forget the Sovereign. I doubt you'll be hearing from him anytime soon.
What's that supposed to mean? Do you know something I don't?
Suffice it to say, the Sovereign isn't the kind of ruler we thought he was. That is, if he ever even existed, which is looking doubtful at this stage.
Are you out of your mind? Why, if people knew that a lord such as yourself was whispering such blasphemy, they'd...
There's no time to explain now. It sounds like we need to find a way to keep Lenegus from spiraling out of control.
We need to stop that riot.
But how do we do that?
Riots feed on discontent and unrest, right? So if we want to keep the peace, we just need to put people's minds at ease.
At ease? Like by letting them hear directly from someone they trust. That's it. Who's the highest-ranking person in Lenegus right now?
Lenegus wouldn't have a next in line. After all, you said the Sovereign rules over everyone directly, right?
Correct. The closest thing to an authority figure would be a lord. And the only one left is... Ah. Very well then. Avakir, you mentioned a few facilities were still online. Which ones?
Why hasn't the Sovereign said anything?
Please, won't somebody explain what's going on?
Is it over? What's going to happen to all of us?
Heed me now, fellow Renans of Lenegus. It is I, Lord Dohalim Ilkaris of Eldamen and Sia.
Look up there, it's Lord Dohalim!
Hold on! He should be in the
He's abandoned you!
The Sovereign is seeing to other matters right now. In my capacity as Lord, I speak to you in his stead.
Very clever.
As people so often are when faced with the unknown. I hope you'll allow me to put your fears to rest. The city's core reactor has experienced a malfunction. However, we have our top engineers attending to the matter, and things will soon be back to normal. I know that you feel abandoned, perhaps more scared and alone than ever before. But I ask you all to keep one thing in mind. You are Lenegus, not the Lords and Sovereign. The solidarity of its citizens is the mortar that holds it together. If we don't allow ourselves to be distracted by our differences, if we put our hearts and minds together and stand as one, I am confident we will find new hope. I would be honored to stand with you. Not as a person of loftier rank, but as another human being among many. I hope that you'll lend me your strength, for if we can persevere as one, I know a bright tomorrow awaits.
Your speech seems to have done the trick. Looks like the city won't be descending into chaos after all.
I only pray the relief will tide the city over for the time being.
What you said earlier, about the Sovereign possibly not even existing, was it true?
It's still too premature to say with any certainty, but I believe so. This whole time, this world we've been fed was a lie. Built on nothing but falsehoods.
Oz.
But it can't all have been...
I can believe it. After everything I saw in the Forbidden Zone, what they did to Faria, it's the only explanation that makes sense.
But what about hierarchy, Avakir? Authority? The very foundations of Renan society? How can we live without someone to guide us?
I'd say we found someone capable of doing just that, wouldn't you?
You? You can't be serious.
I have business I must take care of first. But once everything is over, I shall return. But not as your sovereign, nor as a leader the likes of which the people here are used to, I think.
But how else do you propose to rule?
I'm not sure yet. All I have is a feeling that here in Lenegus, a new dawn is on the verge of breaking. One in which people won't be judged by birthright, or on the power of their astral arts, but on other things. More important things. Things like, oh, I don't know, musical talent, for example.
When I bumped into you after all those years, I said you were no different. But I was wrong. Truth is, you were always different. I feel like maybe now I can finally begin to accept Turnigan's death. To see a future.
I figured she'd be a boss. I mean, she kind of was, but she really wasn't.
Finish whatever it is you've got to do. I'll hold down the fort here in Lenegus till you get back.
Thank you.
I guess you're not going to make it to Menancia for the foreseeable future, huh?
Indeed. Forgive me.
The people of Elda Menancia can look after themselves just fine. It's the ones here on Lenegus who need someone to guide them. Besides, with you leading the people here, it'll help spread the idea of coexistence beyond Menancia's borders that much faster.
Sounds like you're in it for the long haul.
How could I not be, after the second chance that I've been granted?
Well, that's two storylines neatly wrapped up in a bow.
Forth, I shall dedicate myself to the future inhabitants of
So we
this
have
world.
4?
Though the memories of the departed shall remain
Right.
forever in my heart.
Laws is done.
Remember, you're going
Rinwell's
to
is
be leading
done.
the people here, not ruling
Dohalim's
them.
is done.
True enough. Whatever would I do without you?
Kisara's is done. So it's just the main two characters
With or
left.
without her, I suspect you're gonna have your hands full when the time comes. We should be heading back to the ship. Business on Rena awaits.
Renan Leader. After taking charge of the situation and relieving the people of Lenegis of their fear, Dohalim stands tall, no longer burdened by his past. Interesting. Untamable rage. Ice cream. Havoc Thrust. I'd say that one is kind of important. Wow, I have a lot of his things done. Didn't realize that until just now.
Lenegis can rest easy.
I couldn't have done it without your words of encouragement, Law.
Hey, you're the one who made the speech.
I think everybody can share the credit here.
In one sense, when all is said and done, perhaps I have been a slave this whole time too.
You?
Oh, it seems like everybody has.
How do you figure that exactly?
I was complicit in the Renan system, bound by its values, resigned to being swept along, without the resolve to take a stand. And when I realized the severity of my mistake, all I longed for was punishment, a lord. And yet my first instinct was to place my fate in the hands of others.
I think I can relate. I couldn't stand watching my people bow and scrape their way through life, but I didn't know what else I could do about it either. The ability to think for yourself and be your own master. That's what separates a slave from a free person. At least, that's what Law's dad Zephyr used to say. Zephyr taught me how to fight. But in doing so, he also taught me how to live.
Even if it means stumbling along the way. If it's on a road of our own choosing, free of regret. Why, that's the road of freedom. Or, to put it another way, so long as his heart is compromised, even the loftiest of kings is no freer than a slave. I think I finally understand now. This Zephyr character sounds like he was a wise man indeed. I only wish I could have met him.
There's just so much I wish I could ask him, especially now. I wonder, have I been correctly carrying on the torch that he passed to me?
How long have you known?
Known what?
About the darkness I carry inside me. You seem to have been aware of it for quite some time now.
Why ask me now? What does it matter? But yes, I have. I've pretty much known that something was gnawing at you ever since we left Menancia.
So basically since the very start of our journey then. Just when I thought I couldn't feel more ashamed.
Leave the past where it belongs. We have no need for it now. You're forging ahead. That's what matters. If my brother could see you, he'd be proud.
Not as proud as he would be of his sister, I'm sure.
Well then, just as well it's not a competition, huh?
Kisara? Anyone at home in there?
Sorry. Did I look distracted?
Among other things. To be entirely honest, I couldn't tell whether you were smiling or frowning.
You were thinking about Dohalim, weren't you?
That obvious, huh? I was just thinking how good it is to see him moving forward at last. It was always so infuriating, knowing how capable he could be if he just put his mind to it. A prisoner trapped in a cage of his own self-doubt. But now, he's finally beginning to spread his wings. I'm happy for him.
So, then why do you look so sad?
Oh, I don't know if I'd say sad. There's a bittersweetness to it, I guess. It's good and strange, knowing that he won't be needing me anymore. It probably sounds weird, doesn't it? I have this massive worry off my mind. I should be jumping up and down for joy, right?
Must be that maternal instinct of yours at work.
Rinwell's right. You're like a mother bird, finally letting go as her child takes his first shaking and nervous flight from the nest.
A pretty big child.
That's one way to look at it.
I love Hoodle so
I wouldn't like to
much.
see Dohalim's face if he heard you say that. All this has made me realize I can't allow myself to become a prisoner of my own making like he was. If Dohalim can forge his own path ahead, then I can too. I won't be left behind.
Can I make ice cream? I can. Cool.
Good food is the best kind of magic.
Ooh, I burped.
This
Excuse me.
ice cream tastes so good.
I swear, you're always having ice cream, even when it's freezing cold out.
And who made you the food police?
No one. I'm just saying that's a lot of ice cream. Don't you ever, throw up or anything?
Did you really just say that? Try thinking before you talk.
Huh? What do you mean? All I'm saying is I'm just a little worried about you, okay?
Well, don't be. I can have ice cream whenever I want.
Because
You
she's a
say that,
grown-up.
But you know what's gonna happen if you keep eating ice cream all the time.
It's none of your business what I eat or how often.
Arguing over the consumption of a frozen dairy product. Ah, to be young.
Naive might be more accurate.
Sugar connoisseur. Aqueous surge generates 3 water orbs around Rinwell that explode on contact. Oh, nice. Isn't that all of them for her? Nope, one more. Untamable Rage. Do I even have that quest? Oh, there it is. That's not happening. I don't even think I have any money. Nope. I didn't get any money from any of that. Awesome. Alright, where are we going? Travel to Rena. Which means I need to go to my ship, no? Yep. Which is back this way. I mean, I get why they chose to do this string quartet. Because it matches with Dohalim's story. A lot of sounds going on. I don't remember. Did anything happen with, Kelzelik? I don't know. Can't remember. I know Dohalim banished him and then he went to Almadria. But... I don't know.
I thought we'd find answers on Lenegis, but we just ended up finding more questions.
You can say that again. And now we have more problems to fix, too. Like figuring out how to reform Lenegis.
That can wait for now. We've got more than enough on our plates to deal with as it is. Like figuring out who's really running the show on Rena.
Yeah. Which is why we're going to the Renan homeworld.
All the answers we've been looking for are on that planet. The person responsible for all this. The Red Woman and the Renaissalma. The answers have to be there. Are we prepared to finally find them?
Sure.
So, what do we do first when we get there?
We know nothing about the Renan homeworld or what we might face once we arrive. We should get a feel for how things are on the ground before we take any serious steps.
It's also entirely possible that the first thing we're going to face is an attack.
If we come across a capital, we should... What?
Lovely. Creepy ass red woman. Game over. Thanks for playing, folks.
Damn! The hell just happened?
Our course has been altered. The coordinates are pointing to a different destination.
What's that?
The ship's controls aren't accepting my commands. The engine is being shut down.
That's bad, right?
Quite bad. We've lost control of the ship.
Is all of this the Red Women's doing?
Are they trying to finish us off before we can land?
Everyone! Look there!
I wasn't expecting that.
A flower blooming out of Rena?
But that flower looks like it's absorbing all of Dana's energy.
And it appears Lenegis is serving as a conduit for that energy to reach here. Could that have been its true purpose all along?
Yes.
If that's true, do you think the people back on Lenegis are all right?
We can only pray that they are.
Damn it! Haven't they taken enough already? When is this going to end?
The Flower of Oblivion.
With everything that's happening, we need to get back to Lenegis. Is the ship still offline?
Unfortunately, yes. Even more so than when it lay dormant.
Can you fix it?
Starships are extremely complex machines. One wrong move while we're out here in space could very well cost us our lives.
So what? We're just stuck inside here, floating around? For how long?
Ever.
I don't believe this. We've made it all this way, and now we're stuck here? We're watching Dana die before our eyes, and we have no choice but to sit here and starve to death?
Law, calm down! You're not the only one who's worried here.
Right. Sorry.
It's still too early to give up. There has to be a way to get out of this.
Alphen.
Now what?
The starship, it's back online?
No, this is different. Something is pulling our ship in towards it.
What?
We managed to get moving, but where are we?
It looks like Lenegis in here.
Do you think we might run into more Renans here? Or those red women?
Perhaps. Someone brought us here. The question is, who?
We haven't been ambushed, so that probably means they aren't hostile. Still, why would anyone want to bring us here?
Hey, Shion!
If they wanted to attack us, they could have done so while we were back on the starship. We should see where this path takes us.
Sure!
Boo! Ah! What the? Are you out of your mind? This isn't the time for games, Rinwell!
Oh, come on! How am I supposed to resist with you looking all jittery like that?
It's called experiencing feelings appropriate to the situation. You ought to try it sometime.
Yeah, but seeing you act all nervous, you're making me start to feel nervous too.
Oh, sorry.
Staying alert is important, but too much caution can cloud your judgment. Try to strike a balance.
Yes, Mom.
I still can't get over what we saw happening outside the starship.
Yeah, our planet's really not doing too hot right about now.
I can
I've
relate.
never seen Rena from the surface of Dana, so I figured it was just another round planet like ours. Still though, I never would have imagined Rena actually looked like that. And what's the deal with that giant flower coming out of it?
Beats me. I have absolutely no clue. It's so surreal. It looks like a broken egg or something.
Rena and Dana. We were taught that both worlds were spherical bodies that floated amongst the stars in the heavens. But to think that they lied to us not only about the Sovereign and the Crown contest, but also the form of our own planet.
Dohalim.
Okay. That beam of light joining Dana and Rena. It was the Renan side that it first came from, right?
That's what it looked like.
and then the Danon side responded.
Perhaps it was some kind of directive from the Renan homeworld? To reawaken the Wedge and Lenegus?
Which would mean that whoever's behind all this is on Rena after all. But what are they after? Is it really worth going through all this trouble just to steal Dana's energy?
Try to stay calm. With so many factors we don't understand, dwelling on it won't get us anywhere. What is it?
No, it's just... Zephyr once told me the same thing. So much for me making progress, huh?
You made it this far, didn't you? You noticed something, you change it.
Cutie.
That's all anyone can do. But you can't stand still in the meantime.
Yeah, you cutie. Alright, let's save. Done a lot. Looks like samples from a planet. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Why can't I go to the lower level, huh? Maybe I'm already on it. Chairs. Samples of flora. Do they have samples of fauna as well?
This place looks a lot like that room we saw back in the Forbidden Zone.
Huh? What's that? It's one of those!
A red woman in disguise. Or is this their true form?
So it was a trap?
Powering down.
It doesn't look like it can move. Tell me, are you the one who brought us here?
That is correct. It is unusual for me to have unexpected guests these days.
It can talk.
What are you?
Kind of sounds like a cartographer.
Hevrect 35.
Hevrect 35. Is that your name?
Correct.
What is this place? No, wait, before that, just what exactly are you? Are you somehow associated with the Red Women?
Before I answer, I have a question for you. How did you all arrive in this sector?
We did not come to this place by choice. Our ship was brought here against our will, by a group of red women who can shift into the same form as you.
In that case, we can assume my brethren who serve the Great Spirit have deemed you all to be a threat most grave.
What do you mean, serve? Are you saying there really is someone more powerful than the Red Women, pulling their strings?
What did you do to us?
I examined your bodies. You have not been harmed in any way. Identifiers detected. The Sovereign and Maiden are among you. However, you aren't under its control. I see why they viewed you as a danger now.
Oh goody, more riddles.
Do you think we can trust this thing?
Like it or not, it may be our best chance at a ticket out of here. Let's at least hear it out.
I shall now answer your questions. We are Helganquil. The Red Women you encountered previously are a form of disguise we employ from time to time, but not our true form.
Helganquil?
You are on Date Phasal, a celestial base which drifted here by accident. The will of Rena's Great Spirit no longer reaches us here. Since my sudden separation from the Great Spirit's influence, I have used any and all means to extend my lifespan. As I have done so, I have also set out to monitor and research Rena and Dana from this position.
A question. What is this great spirit of which you speak? Is it something that rules over your kind?
Correct. The great astral spirit is a large mass of astral energy that fills all of Rena, one with its own will, a voice we cannot refuse.
A voice? Just like Dana.
The voice of the Great Spirit speaks to our hearts directly, and we have served it without question throughout the ages.
Does that mean it was controlling your minds? Wait a second. Could this great spirit be the true sovereign of Rena?
The true ruler of Rena. It could be the same thing that's controlling Volron.
Wait, back up. You're telling us this great spirit of yours is the one that ordered you things to harvest the astral energy from Dana? I'm not sure I believe that.
Why not? We've already made contact with the will of Dana back in the Wedge, and in the Forbidden Zone on Lenegus. If Dana has a will of its own, I don't see why Rena wouldn't.
Maybe not, but think about what you're saying. If Dana has a will like Rena, then that would mean that we've been controlled by the voice of Dana this whole time, just like these things.
Dana's will hasn't been forcing us to do anything.
Yeah, but...
Let's assume that what Hevrek 35 claims is true, and that we are indeed cut off from both planets. Even if we had previously been under the control of Dana's will, we would have noticed now that we are disconnected.
Your fear is not based in logic. The voice of Dana is much smaller and quieter compared to that of Rena's great spirit. Rena's astral energy is amassed at its center, whereas Dana's is shared among all its constituents. So thinly is that energy spread that it cannot coalesce and formulate a will. Our findings here indicate as much.
Which explains why we felt its will where we did. The Wedge and Lenegus are where so much of that energy had been accumulated.
The Great Spirit's desire is to consume all astral energy, and the pursuit of that desire is why you see Rena in its current state. As a result, it has turned its attention toward Dana.
Is that why the crown contest is necessary? So that the Great Spirit can feed off of Dana?
Indeed, and it was to that end that we Helganquil devised the crown contest. Had the initial spirit channeling from 300 years ago succeeded, all of Dana's astral energy would have been seized.
But the ceremony failed. Lenegus was severely damaged, and you lost both the Sovereign and the Renasalma.
Correct. A change in plan was required to ensure the spirit channeling success. However, recreating the Renis Alma required a vast amount of energy. That is why we turned to Dana.
So that was the real purpose behind the crown contest. An efficient means to harvest the necessary energy from Dana.
This is all happening because of me.
Nevertheless, you still haven't answered one of Alphen's original questions. Just why have you brought us here to your base, Hevrek 35?
First, it was to confirm the identities of you, my unexpected visitors. Second, it was to ascertain whether you would be likely to accept my request.
A request? But what could someone like you want us to...
I wish for you all to slay the Great Spirit.
I'm sorry, did you just ask us to kill your master?
I did. It is in your best interest that you do so, I might add.
What makes you say that?
Lenegus has entered the final stage of the spirit channeling plan. As we speak, Dana's energy is being harvested en masse and transmitted to Rena. If nothing is done about the Great Spirit, it will not be long before all is lost.
You're saying the destruction we saw earlier is just the beginning? That...
We won't let that happen.
Why do you want us to kill the Great Spirit so badly? Is it to save our world? To free you, Helganquil, from under its control? Why?
No. My primary concern is validating our findings and analysis, which have taken many years to realize. As such, it is my desire to see how your actions impact and change these systems. However, I will not deny that vengeance also plays a part.
Vengeance? For what?
In spite of our long service to the Great Spirit, our species is on the brink of extinction.
You mean... you're dying?
At this stage, it would be wise for you to talk with the others. Ask them what you need to know. Once you have your answer, return to me. If you agree to help, I shall fix your ship.
Others? Just how many of you are there?
I am the only Helganquil who inhabits Dake Phasal.
Hey! Hey!
It's no use. I think it's done talking to us. Let's take a look around.
It seems to manage Hevric 35's condition. Lots of vital sign stats are displayed.
You can't seriously be buying anything that creature told us, right? I mean, it's practically blackmailing us into doing its dirty work.
To be honest, the conversation went on for so long, I'm not sure I understood all of it. How about you, Dohalim? Were you able to...
It didn't go on that long.
At the very least, everything it said about the Renan Great Spirit adds up. At the end of the day, this whole chain of events comes back to astral energy. That being said, had we not previously encountered the will of Dana, I suspect I would find its story much more difficult to believe.
The spirit of Rena wants to see Dana completely destroyed.
But why? Astral energy is supposed to be a force that creates and shapes the world.
It doesn't matter. I don't care if we're up against an entire world or what its game is. We're not going to let it destroy Dana.
Right.
There is one other thing that concerns me. How the Great Spirit, the Helganquil, and the Crown Contest are all part of a centuries-long plan is clear enough. But what about the Renans?
Mm-hmm.
How do they
That's what I was thinking too.
Now that you mention it, and all that talk, Hevric 35 never even brought up the Renans once. And as for the Helganquil, we never did find out just what they are either.
Maybe it had a reason for keeping its silence. Or perhaps there's even more going on. Maybe the others will shed more light on the matter. Let's find out.
Really tough. I don't know what to think.
Who are they?
What is it?
Oh, my apologies. It's just been so long since I've seen any humans from the outside world.
Are you a Renan?
Duh-huh.
Hmm? Oh, yeah, I guess so. The Overseer told us to answer any questions you might have. Whatever you want to know, we'll tell you as much as we can. But be quick. Our subjects are undergoing a dramatic shift that we don't want to miss.
Your subjects?
What a weird guy.
He must have meant Hevrect 35 when he mentioned that overseer.
And what was that about subjects? You don't think he meant Dana and Rena, do you?
There isn't anyone else we can talk to. I guess we should ask around here.
Have you guys lived up here in Dag Fazel with Hevrek 35 for a long time?
Yes. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head just how long it's been, though. We regularly go into stasis, so our sense of time has gotten rather out of whack over the years.
Why are you all even here in the first place?
Originally, this station was where we worked to perform maintenance on Lenegis from the outside.
We heard that the facility ended up in its current location due to an accident.
Oh, it was terrible. Apparently there was some kind of accident, and when help never arrived, they presumed the entire facility had been destroyed.
And you've been working for Hevrect 35 ever since?
Well, at first we thought that there was nobody else inside the facility, but then it turned out the Overseer was there all along.
What do you mean?
The Helganquil have the technology to cloak themselves around us Renans. As long as they don't do anything obvious, a Renan won't see one, even if it's right in front of them.
Which would explain why Shion and I failed to notice the Red Women previously. Do they employ an astral art of some sort?
I haven't been able to scientifically confirm it for myself, but from what I understand, the type of cloaking they use is primarily achieved through mechanical means. In addition, they also used hypnosis devices and information control to get us to do what they wanted without being detected. It's a pretty sophisticated operation, especially since it avoids any unnecessary conflict. I have to imagine that's how Lenegis is still run.
But aren't the Helganquil themselves controlled by the Great Spirit? If so, why aren't Renans affected by it in the same way?
The Great Spirit's mind control only works on Helganquil, so they had to employ other means to manipulate us Renans.
You act like this didn't affect you personally. If I was you, I'd be mad as hell at their deceptions.
I mean, sure, I was surprised when I first found out about it, but it happened so long ago.
Hevrek 35 has clearly ceased concealing itself, though. Why is that?
Who can say? My guess is it just got bored, or maybe even a little lonely.
Don't you want to go back home to Rena or Lenegis? Our ship is going to be fixed pretty soon. You could ride with us.
No way. If we went back after knowing the truth, they'd either just brainwash us or purge us outright. After all this time, there's nothing to be gained from going back. We've all agreed it'd be best to simply stay here and watch everything unfold instead. Things are going just fine with the Overseer. Not that it'll be around much longer. It can't extend its life any further. That said, I'm sure it's pleased to see the final stage of the plan before it passes on, though.
Thank you for answering our questions.
It appears to maintain constant monitoring to ensure nothing approaches Dag Fazel.
Can we talk to you for a few minutes?
Sure. It's going to be a while before the two planets undergo their next shift, so I can talk until then.
Please, tell us what you know about the Helganquil.
You mean the Overseer's species? I can't say I know much about them.
Well, for starters, where'd they come from?
Where else? From Rena, obviously.
From Rena? Wait, are you telling us those things live right alongside the Renans down there?
Of course not. There's really no such thing as Renans in the first place.
Excuse me?
Oh, I thought the Overseer explained everything.
Apparently not.
Please, tell us more.
Well, in a nutshell, the Renans were originally created from Danans by the Helganquil.
Figured as much. Doesn't surprise me.
But if that's true, then that would mean there aren't any people on Rena.
There aren't. But there are Helganquil. That's what the name literally means in their language. People of Rena.
But what need could they possibly have to create a whole new race of people?
It was a way to bolster their dwindling workforce. I trust you're aware that the Helganquil are on the verge of extinction, yes? In essence, we were created to carry on their work for the Great Spirit after they all die. They gathered Danins who had an affinity for astral arts and proceeded from there.
That's why the mages all hid.
As their descendants, can all cast arts, albeit to varying degrees.
Let me get this straight. Are you saying Renans were originally created from Danins that the Helganquil kidnapped?
Wait, that explains why almost nobody can use astral arts on Dana now.
Helganquil technology is truly amazing. The way they alter their bodies is far less invasive than your conventional surgeries.
They have these tiny machines that are practically invisible, which they insert into their bodies and...
Enough! You needn't tell us anymore.
How can you speak so calmly about all of this?
I guess I can see how, when viewed in a certain light, their ways may sound grotesque. But if you ask me, I think they ultimately did us a favor. They saved us from crawling the earth in ignorance. If it meant their hands had to get a little dirty in the process, then so be it. Anyway, the Helganquil are the real Renans. Personally, I don't think it's such a big deal. They're also mostly the ones behind what you see going on between the two planets. I think that covers just about everything worth knowing.
I see. Thanks for filling us in.
Does he really expect us to believe that Renans never truly existed? How absurd.
Dohalim.
Just when I think we're getting to the bottom of it all, some new revelation smacks us in the face.
Renans did exist for 300
last
years.
Revelation for a while. Do you know anything about a spirit channeling plan?
If you mean the first plan from 300 years ago, then yes. Do you know what its main objective was?
Yes. It was to use Lenegis to siphon off Dana's astral energy and send it to Rena.
Exactly. However, there were two problems we had to consider. First was how to collect and send such a large quantity of astral energy without it becoming sentient. Second, we had to figure out how to convert Dana's energy so it would be compatible with Rena.
I take it the solutions to those problems were to use the wedge for the collection, and then the Sovereign and Maiden to convert the energy.
We have a winner! However, the first plan failed when the Sovereign was overwhelmed and became frenzied. The reason for that is because the Maiden lost control. I'm told he slaughtered many Renans in Helganquil that day. For the next plan, we tried to recreate the Renis Alma, but we didn't have nearly enough of the other non-dark astral energy types. To amend that, we set our sights on Dana, and implemented a system whereby we could extract energy from it.
And the crown contest began.
Correct. Since the Maiden had been the failing point in the previous plan, it was decided to replace her role with machinery to avoid further mishaps. A new Sovereign had to be made as well. It was such tremendously difficult work, its success was dubious. But from the look of things, it would appear such worries were unfounded.
So that's what the purpose of that room we found in the Forbidden Zone was.
What about the flower that sprouted from Rena?
Flower? Oh, that thing. That's the physical manifestation of all the astral energy that's been harvested from Dana. As I'm sure you've noticed, it's quite a lot of energy. At this point, it's likely that it's become physically integrated with Rena's planetary structure.
Hevrecht 35 mentioned that the spirit channeling plan is entering its final stage. Is that true?
It is. I never thought I would live to see the day with my own eyes. And yet here we are. Are we done talking now? If it's all the same to you, I'd really rather not miss anything that's about to happen.
He talks like the potential end of the world is just another day on the job.
You've got to remember that these guys have been living alone up here for a long time. Who knows what shape their minds are in?
It feels like our whole world has been turned upside down. Is there anything we know that's still true at this point?
Seriously, I'm still trying to process the fact that we Renans were created by the Helganquil, let alone the Sovereign and Maiden stuff.
Let's take a moment to gather ourselves. I know all of this is a lot to believe and take in, but I think it's fair to say that we've found the answers we've been looking for. Does everyone agree?
Agreed. Though I'll admit that I never expected it to all boil down to Rena's great spirit being behind everything.
Everything that's happened, everything we've endured, it's all because of astral energy.
And to get that energy, the Great Spirit took control of the Helganquil. Then the Helganquil created the Renans, who went on to invade and rule over the Danans.
Plus, the reason the Great Spirit can't directly control the Renans as well is likely because they were originally Danans all along.
Either way, I think it's fair to say we've all had a lot to take in at once. Maybe too much, even. We should probably take it easy and rest our minds a bit. Why don't we all take some time to think things over, before we decide on our next move?
That's a good idea, Kisara. If the Renan Great Spirit really is behind all this, then we've got a really big fight ahead of us. Because it's not just Dana on the line, but Rena too. If we're going to do this, we need to be completely sure of ourselves. So let's go ahead and break off for now. We aren't in any immediate danger, so we should be okay. You sure you don't want to be alone right now?
I could ask you the same question.
I figured I'd get all my thinking in while walking around and checking up on everybody.
I'll go along with you. I'm interested to hear what's on everyone's minds too.
Sounds good. Let's go find them.
Everyone's just gone their own way, huh?
Yeah, let's hit up each spot. Everything we thought we knew, it was all just a fabrication that the Red Women, no, that the Helganquil made up.
Right. Assuming we can believe anything that Hevrek 35 has told us, that is.
Well, if the names are anything to go by, it's possible the Helganquil could be behind the fruits of Helgen too.
But if Hevrek 35 was telling the truth, and this was all just one massive lie, does that mean everything we've done up until now has been pointless?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I hope not. I think it just means we've lost our foothold for now. That's all.
Really? Well then, if we've lost it, I guess we'll just have to find another. All of us together. And if we can't find one, then we'll make a new one. End of story.
Make one, huh? I see. Right then. Count me in.
Aw, how cute. Well, I was hoping to finish the game tonight, but it looks like it'll be tomorrow night. So, to that end, I will be ending now. And I will be back on tomorrow, same time, same station. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you back here tomorrow. Thanks for spelunking.